If you're over 60 and still eating eggs the way you always have, boiled, fried, raw, or just the whites, what I'm about to tell you might shock you. Because while eggs have long been called a perfect food, for seniors, eating them the wrong way can quietly become more dangerous than poison. Yes, you heard that right. The same eggs you trust for protein and strength could be sabotaging your heart, your brain, and even your medications, without you realizing it. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a physician and men's health expert with over 30 years of experience helping older adults reclaim their energy, balance their hormones, and age with dignity. I've treated thousands of seniors, and I can tell you, eggs are either healing or harming you. The difference is how you eat them. Most seniors think avoiding fat or eating eggs early in the day is a healthy habit. But in my clinic, I've seen patients grow weaker, lose memory, or end up in the hospital, not because of the eggs themselves, but because of 5 critical mistakes in how they prepare and time their meals. That's why in today's video, I'll walk you through the 5 most dangerous ways seniors eat eggs, habits that silently destroy energy, immunity, and circulation after 60. And more importantly, I'll show you exactly how to transform this everyday food into a powerful source of health, vitality, and confidence. So don't go anywhere, because mistake number 4, it's something nearly every senior makes, and it's quietly damaging your body every single morning. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another important health message that could protect your body and extend your life. And if you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me create content that truly serves you better. Now let's begin with the first and perhaps most common mistake I see among seniors. And it's one that seems harmless, even smart at first glance. But in reality, it's quietly draining your energy, damaging your nerves, and setting you up for serious long-term problems. I'm talking about the habit of eating only egg whites, especially on an empty stomach. Let me explain why this simple choice could be working against your health in ways you've never imagined. 1. Eating only egg whites on an empty stomach. I remember a patient of mine named Eleanor. She was 79, bright-eyed, active, and determined to stay healthy. She came to me complaining of constant fatigue, strange tingling in her fingers and toes, and an unsettling fogginess that made her forget small things, like where she left her keys or what day it was. She was eating clean, walking daily, and doing everything right, or so she thought. When we dug into her habits, one thing stood out. Every morning, without fail, she ate 3 egg whites. No yolks, no sides, no breakfast, just the whites. She told me she'd read somewhere that yolks were bad for cholesterol and that egg whites were pure protein. It sounded like a smart move, but for someone her age, it was a silent mistake. What most people don't realize is that egg whites contain a compound called avidin. On its own, it doesn't seem harmful, but when consumed without the yolk, especially on an empty stomach, avidin binds to a crucial vitamin called biotin, vitamin B7, and blocks your body from absorbing it. Biotin is essential for nerve health, brain function, mood balance, and energy production. And as we age, our ability to absorb and retain it naturally declines. That makes it all the more dangerous to unintentionally block what little we have left. In Eleanor's case, it was a slow, invisible slide. What began as mild numbness grew into real discomfort. Her muscles weakened, her confidence slipped. And worst of all, she didn't know why. Once I explained the link between avidin, biotin, and her symptoms, we adjusted her routine. She started eating whole eggs, yolk and all, always with a small salad or a piece of whole grain toast. Within weeks, the fog lifted. Her energy returned. The numbness faded. And she cried in my office, not out of fear, but relief. That's the reality most seniors never hear. The yolk is not your enemy. In fact, it's where the magic lives. The yolk is rich in biotin, lecithin for brain health, lutein and zeaxanthin for your eyes, and omega-3s to fight inflammation. It balances out the avidin in the white and helps your body use the protein properly. But timing matters too. When your stomach is empty, your acids are strong, and avidin's binding effect is amplified. That's why eating egg whites alone, first thing in the morning, becomes a hidden health hazard. So if you've been tossing the yolk out or grabbing a quick egg white scramble in the morning, it's time to rethink that habit. What feels like a healthy choice could be what's quietly stealing your strength. Now, if you think that's surprising, wait until you hear what happens when seniors eat eggs raw or undercooked. It's a mistake many make without a second thought, and the consequences can be far more dangerous than you'd expect. 2. Eating raw or undercooked eggs. Years ago, I treated a man named Mark, a retired firefighter from Ohio. He was 82, proud, and strong-willed, a man who believed in old-school routines. Every morning for nearly 40 years, Mark cracked 2 raw eggs into a glass, mixed them with a splash of vodka, and drank it down. It was his version of staying tough, staying energized. He'd seen boxers do it, he said. "I've never had a problem," he told me. Until one day, he did. Mark arrived at the hospital barely conscious. He was severely dehydrated, running a high fever, and had intense abdominal pain. The diagnosis? Salmonella poisoning, serious enough that it sent him straight to the intensive care unit. For younger people, this might have passed with discomfort, but at his age, with a weakened immune system, it became life-threatening. What shook me most wasn't the infection, it was how avoidable it was. Raw eggs are dangerous for anyone, but especially for older adults. As we age, our immune defenses naturally weaken. What your body might have fought off easily in your 30s can now send you to the hospital in your 70s or 80s. Salmonella isn't just a bad stomach bug. In seniors, it can lead to sepsis, a serious bloodstream infection that can shut down your organs if not caught in time. But that's just one side of the problem. Raw eggs also keep the avidin protein completely intact. And unlike cooked eggs, where heat helps break it down, raw eggs give avidin full power to bind and block biotin, a vitamin your nerves and brain desperately need in later years. And there's more. Raw egg proteins can disrupt the delicate balance of your gut bacteria. And I cannot stress this enough. Your gut is not just about digestion. It's tied to your immune system, your mental health, and even conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Damaging your microbiome over time with raw eggs may silently erode your ability to think clearly, fight infections, or even feel emotionally balanced. After Mark recovered, I sat beside him as he sipped warm broth. His hands were still trembling, his voice weak. "Doc," he said, "I thought I was doing something good." I nodded. "You were trying to," I told him. And that's the hard part. Most of us are. But as we get older, our bodies change. What once worked can now work against us. It's not about fear, it's about wisdom. So if you've ever eaten raw eggs or love your yolks still runny in the middle, it's time to reconsider. Boil them, steam them, make sure they're fully cooked. Your body and your life may depend on it. Now, if you think raw eggs are risky, wait until we talk about how eggs can quietly interfere with the very medications keeping your heart, blood, and brain functioning. This next mistake is one of the most overlooked and the most dangerous. 3. Eating eggs with your medication. A few years ago, I met Dorothy, a 76-year-old widow from Pennsylvania. She was gentle, soft-spoken, and always wore the same warm smile, even when she didn't feel her best. She came to me because, despite taking her medications religiously, iron for her anemia, statins for cholesterol, and blood thinners for her heart, she wasn't getting better. Her energy was low, her iron levels weren't improving, and her blood work was all over the place. She felt like she was doing everything right, but her body was telling a different story. As we talked more, something caught my ear. Every morning, right after taking her medications, she'd sit at her kitchen table and enjoy 2 eggs, one boiled, one fried. She liked routine. It gave her comfort, but that routine was interfering with the very pills meant to keep her alive. Here's what most people don't know. Eggs, especially when eaten too close to medications, can block absorption and even reduce the effectiveness of certain drugs. Egg yolks are high in vitamin K. That's not a bad thing in general. It's great for blood clotting. But if you're on warfarin or other blood thinners, a sudden increase in vitamin K, like eating eggs every morning, can throw off the delicate balance of your medication, You could clot too quickly or not enough. Either way, it's dangerous. And it doesn't stop there. Egg whites contain proteins that bind to iron, calcium, and zinc, making them harder for your body to absorb. That's why Dorothy's anemia wasn't improving. The iron she took each morning was going straight through her system, bound to the eggs she ate minutes later. Then there's the issue with antibiotics. Some, like tetracycline, actually bind to minerals in food, including eggs, and lose their potency. And for those on thyroid medication, like levothyroxine, taking it with or too close to eggs can blunt the drug's absorption and leave you feeling foggy, tired, or off balance. When I explained all this to Dorothy, her eyes widened. "I had no idea," she whispered. And she's not alone. Most seniors simply aren't told about food medication interactions that can impact their daily health. But once she spaced out her meds and her meals, waiting at least 2 hours, her labs started to improve. Her fatigue lifted, her energy returned, and she finally felt like herself again. It's not about giving up eggs, it's about timing. Being just a little more intentional can make all the difference in how your medications work. And if you think mixing food and medicine sounds risky, you'll be stunned by how the time of day you eat eggs could silently raise your cholesterol and even increase your risk of heart problems. This next mistake happens in more homes than you can imagine, and the solution is as simple as shifting the clock. 4. Eating eggs early in the morning, 6 to 8 a.m. It's hard to break old habits, especially ones we grew up believing were healthy. For decades, we've been told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and that eggs, in particular, are the perfect way to start it. I've heard it from countless patients, and Ronald was no exception. Ronald, 78, was a retired school principal with a sharp wit and an even sharper morning routine. Every day at 6 o'clock a.m., he was up, dressed, and sitting at the table with 2 fried eggs, a slice of toast, and a steaming cup of coffee. He hadn't missed that ritual in over 30 years, but then one morning, he collapsed in his driveway. The doctors diagnosed him with a mild heart attack, and when I reviewed his labs, his cholesterol was nearly double the safe range. He looked at me, bewildered. "But doc, I eat clean. I don't touch donuts or bacon, just eggs every morning." That's when I had to explain something most people have never heard. It's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it. Between 6 and 8 a.m., your body naturally produces its highest levels of cortisol, a hormone that helps you wake up and get going. But cortisol also stimulates cholesterol production in the liver. So when you eat high cholesterol foods like eggs during that time, it adds fuel to the fire. Your body isn't just processing the cholesterol from the eggs, it's also making more of its own right on top of it. And here's the kicker. Your digestion isn't even fully awake yet. The gastrointestinal system has been resting all night, and it takes time to ramp back up. Heavy proteins like eggs can be harder to break down in those early hours, leading to bloating, heartburn, and poor nutrient absorption. So while you think you're giving your body a good start, you may be burdening it when it's least ready. Once Ronald shifted his egg routine to the early afternoon, around 2:05 p.m., everything changed. His cholesterol numbers started to drop, his energy stabilized, and most importantly, his heart stopped giving him trouble. He still enjoyed his eggs, just not at sunrise. Timing really is everything. If you've been eating eggs early in the morning, it might be time to rework your rhythm. Your body, especially after 60, works differently than it used to, and adjusting your habits to match can mean the difference between slow decline and long-lasting vitality. But even if you eat your eggs at the right time, there's one more mistake that could undo all your efforts. It's not about the egg itself, but how you cook it. And believe me, this final habit is quietly harming your digestion, your brain, and even your ability to age gracefully. Let's talk about it. 5. Frying eggs in high-temperature oil. Jane was 84 when she first came to see me. She had a quiet grace about her, the kind of person who never complained, even when she wasn't feeling her best. She told me she'd lost her appetite over the past few months. Her stomach felt heavy after meals. She was often nauseated, and she dropped close to 10 pounds. She didn't think it was serious. "Just old age, maybe," she said softly, But I knew better. After listening carefully and going through her habits, I asked her one simple question. How do you usually cook your eggs? She smiled and said proudly, 2 fried eggs every single morning, in oil, just like my mother used to make. That's when the puzzle began to fall into place. Frying eggs in high-temperature oil is one of the most common and most harmful ways older adults prepare this otherwise healthy food. When oil is heated beyond its smoke point, it releases harmful compounds like aldehydes and acrylamide, which can irritate the stomach lining, trigger inflammation, and put extra stress on aging organs. Jane's chronic digestive discomfort wasn't random. It was a direct result of those daily fried eggs. But that's not the only danger. High heat also destroys vital nutrients, especially choline, which is found abundantly in egg yolks. Choline is essential for brain function and memory, and it plays a key role in slowing cognitive decline. At a time in life when every bit of brain support matters, destroying choline before it even reaches your body is like throwing away the very thing you need most. There's more. Proteins in eggs are delicate. When exposed to excessive heat, they become denatured, twisted into shapes your digestive system struggles to break down. For someone younger, this might just mean mild discomfort. But for older adults with slower digestion, it can lead to bloating, heartburn, or worse, malabsorption of nutrients your body depends on. I recommended Jane switch to a gentler method, boiling her eggs over low heat or steaming them slowly. Within a month, her symptoms faded. Her appetite returned, and so did her energy. It wasn't magic. It was just treating her body with the care it now needed. So, if you've been frying your eggs in hot oil because it's what you've always done, consider this your moment to change. You don't have to give up flavor, you just have to cook smarter. Try poaching, steaming, or slow boiling. Add a sprinkle of turmeric or pepper for flavor and anti-inflammatory support. It's not just about avoiding harm, it's about unlocking the full power of the food you already love. Now that you've seen the 5 biggest egg-eating mistakes older adults make, the question is, what happens when you start eating them the right way? In just a moment, I'll show you how a simple change in your egg routine could unlock more energy, sharper memory, and stronger health than you've felt in years. Don't miss this. Conclusion. I've spent over 3 decades sitting across from seniors, people just like you, who simply wanted to stay strong, independent, and well. And time after time, I've seen how something as small as an egg, eaten the wrong way, can quietly drain your energy, disturb your digestion, spike your cholesterol, or interfere with the very medications meant to protect your heart and brain. Let's quickly remember what we've uncovered today. First, eating only egg whites on an empty stomach may rob your body of vital nutrients like biotin, leading to nerve issues and fatigue. Second, eating eggs raw or undercooked puts you at real risk of salmonella and gut imbalances that affect your whole body. Third, pairing eggs with medications, especially blood thinners, iron, or thyroid pills, can make those drugs less effective or even dangerous. Fourth, eating eggs early in the morning during your cortisol peak can quietly raise cholesterol and disrupt digestion. And fifth, frying eggs in high-temperature oil destroys precious nutrients and creates toxic compounds that hurt your gut and age your body from the inside out. But here's the part that matters most. You don't have to give up eggs. You just have to give them the respect your aging body deserves. Eat them whole, cook them gently, time them wisely, and pair them with the right foods. It's not about restriction, it's about strategy, and it's never too late to make that change. If just one of these shifts becomes your new habit, it could transform your energy, your clarity, your strength. So tomorrow, when you reach for those eggs, ask yourself, am I eating them in a way that heals or harms? Your answer could shape the next decade of your life.